Well, welcome everybody. You are on Women Breaking Ground, Developers Unplugged. This has been an incredible series and more to come. These ladies have been doing an incredible job in their space, and you'll get to hear their fabulous story. My name is Keith Fenson, president at Key Vision. I'll be your moderator for today, and more or less they're gonna be doing all the work. But we'll have some fun in the process and hear these incredible stories. Now, hey, we got an opportunity for you, and I wish that I could get into it because it takes me back to some of my heyday. How would you like a 1998 Corvette?
Ooh,
Then
ooh.
I can remember that one right there. That thing was slick. Now the new ones today, now I do like the new ones today. Now those are fire, but 1998 was the thing. I'm gonna tell you. So we're gonna give you a chance to be able to win that, and then also we want to know who all is in the house. So we're gonna pop up a poll, and love for you guys to interact with that to be able to answer all those questions and to give yourself a chance to win giveaway tickets for 1998 Chevrolet Corvette. So let's pop up the poll, please. Got 22 people. Like, look, Chelsea, you think I could throw my name in there? Because I could. I think
And
I
it's
could.
convertible. It's
It's a
convertible.
convertible.
Oh,
Oh,
yes, it's convertible.
Wait a
oh.
minute.
May not be good today in Dallas, but we got enough days that we can drop that top, even during the winter time.
Absolutely.
Also, this
Yeah.
snow and ice has been a little crazy for us around here. All right, we looking good on the poll then. I give you another couple of moments to do that. And while I do that, I'm gonna just let you know also that love you to join us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. And if we could, Chelsea aside, if you guys could pop that into the chat so people can see that, how to be able to connect with us. And then as we go along throughout this, there's going to be a lot of powerful things that's going to be said. Love for you guys again to engage and interact. Throw some thumbs up, throw some hand claps. Let me see somebody. Can somebody throw some hand claps up for me? Throw some thumbs up just so we can see that things are working. Okay, there we go. Got a little heart, got a little love, got a little clap. Like that, like that. There you go. Let's keep that flowing because, again, you're going to hear some powerful things. Give these ladies some encouragement and show them some love as we go through. All right, so hey, let's get cranking. And what I'm going to have everyone to do is I'm going to have the panelists to introduce themselves and tell a little bit about their background. And then also one of the major projects that they are working on or they've worked on in the past, just at a high level, just so you guys can have a baseline of who all is on here. And so I'm just going to go in the order that I see up here, ladies. So Miss Valerie, can you go first, please? And then Miss Rhonda, you'll follow.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm Valerie Ballard. I am a developer with the Airborne at University Hills.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rhonda Pratt. I'm also a co-developer at University Hill.
Okay, and Cynthia and Essay.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all. I'm Cynthia Nevels, founder of Tiny Renaissance Homes, where we develop tiny home communities centered around experiential wellness.
I'm SAI here with Admiral Legacy Investment. We're a commercial real estate company focused on office and mixed-use developments and operations.
Okay, so y'all can see all the experience that we have up here. So let's get this show started. I'm gonna give you guys a question that I'm gonna have everyone to answer this one first. And Essie, I'm gonna let you get us started on this, okay? So our first question is, what drew you to development, and what has kept you here in the field?
Thank you, Keith. That's a great question. Actually, I had a background with, I grew up in a house of developers. My dad was one. He did some level of student housing. And so I've been passionate about real estate development ever since, because one of the things I think it does for me, and I'm very passionate about it, it shapes our communities and it leaves, lasting legacies, while building wealth. So one of the things I would never forget, I heard this author said, I think it was Andrew Carnegie, he said 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. And there's nothing is when you're making an impact at the same time making money, why not? And so it's just something that I love and I've been passionate about, just seeing designs, hearing what the community wants, making sure the numbers work, and just working with people to build our community just the way we want it. So,
So you said if we want some wealth, we need to own some real estate. Is that what you said?
I mean, that's what, and when you hear the mentors in this industry, when they say 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. So
Wow.
that's why, I mean, it's something, when you're hearing people, you're looking at the people, you have mentors and people that are doing good. You just hear them and say, okay, real estate is something, whatever you're doing, own real estate.
Gotcha.
When I
Gotcha.
was working, I started out as a single family, rebuilding, redeveloping homes. Whether it's a small retail, I did something, buy
Okay.
whatever funds I had, I put into real estate. It's just something I'm passionate about. Seeing
Gotcha.
something go from old to
All
new.
right, we're gonna let you get we're gonna let you no, hold on, slow down
You
just a little
know,
bit now.
You asked me.
We gonna give you an opportunity to tell the whole story.
When
Don't give
you
up
talk
all the
about
goods just
passion,
yet.
don't ask me because I'm very passionate about it. I can go on and on.
I know now.
Yeah, we see it. Yeah,
Cynthia, what about you?
love it.
Uh,
What drew you to development?
Actually, seeing Jewel Pearson in an interview during the pandemic piqued my interest for the first time. I think representation is really important. And when I saw a Black woman living and experiencing a tiny home, I was curious and I wanted to learn more. And that was the start during the pandemic.
Yeah, I tell you what, the tiny homes, I, look at a little HGTV and, I saw not us represented right in that space until I met Valerie. I rode up on her one day and she showed me, I was like, man, I was blown away. Miss Rhonda, what drew you to development?
well, I didn't think as grandiose, right? I started out dabbling in the early 90s, taking real estate courses and what they call creative real estate, the wholesaling, the flipping, the subject to all of those different opportunities. And I locked in on wholesaling. And I would always just drive around neighborhoods and look for the dilapidated properties and, talk to people around the neighborhood and said, hey, what's going on with this house, and inroads to help people, because it is about, increasing our wealth, right? We want to leave generational wealth, but it's also about where can I help this individual if they're in a bad place and they're about to lose their home, how can I help them get the most out of that situation? And also, helping someone pass moving forward, right? So that was my start.
Awesome, awesome. All right, Rockstar, Miss Valerie, bringing everybody together for this. What drew you into development?
Well, I needed to downsize. I was living in a really large house by myself. And so I decided to build my first tiny house. And I needed to save money because I knew this day would come that I would need to invest. So I built this tiny house. And then when I saw homeless veterans sleeping on the streets, I was
Mm,
like, oh no, I got to do something about that. I've had too many veterans in my family. Over 50 members of my family served in the military. I said, if somebody's going to do this, it's got to be me and my family. So we built a tiny house community. That was the beginning, and that's what's kept me in this field is the love of the men and women who have served in our military.
that's important, and I've seen that personally firsthand of your passion for our service members. Miss Cynthia, can you kind of ground us into a real project? So take us through maybe your vision and how things came about with the project that you've worked on or
Sure.
working on currently.
By all means, my philosophy in investing is rural properties. I want to go out into the country, into undeveloped land, raw land, nothing there but trees, shrubs, snakes and building infrastructure from scratch. That's my philosophy. And so my first project is in Fairfield, Texas, um, way out there, and the county, and not the city limits, and which gives me a great deal more freedom. And that particular property initially looked like hell. It looked like a swamp. People are like, "What are you doing?" But I purchased it from a wholesaler for pennies. I knew this was the type of project I wanted to take on, and that would ultimately turn into tiny home units on it that will become a space for yoga and meditation and sound baths and just a place that's more than just living. And so that's my philosophy. That's the first project. It started from a swamp to a very beautiful space.
Okay, you might got a little
Wow.
saying there, swamp to a beautiful place. Like that's a very clear visual, right? People can see that transformation right there.
Yeah.
Valerie, what about you? What's the project that you're working on right now? Tell us all about it.
The Airborne at University Hills. We're building $130 million mixed-use development,
Woo, woo,
housing,
woo.
retail, the Trail of Valor with our Buffalo Soldiers, a hotel. Man, we're doing the thing. I'm so proud of these co-developers that have just jumped in on this vision, and we're so happy to be in the space that we're in and be in the University Hills development. Because if you haven't heard about the new community that's being built around UNT Dallas, man, you need to catch up. It is an awesome opportunity.
Well, Valerie, walk us through your vision, though. That's great that what's been out. We want to hear from you, though. Like, take us through the vision of how you got to the place where you are right now.
Right. So we were next door on a property with about 14 veterans. They own what's called the regular fellers. That's what we called them during the daytime years ago. But we were there. We built a tiny house community featured on WFAA Channel 8 and blew up, right? People came to visit us, and we got a very generous church to come out to help us secure land. Man, we went everywhere trying to find land around University Hills, but we ended up with 11 and a half acres right next door to where we had the tiny dining ranch. And we were told, you can't bring no tiny houses here. We were like, what? Because we were planning to put like 100 tiny houses on that property, and we couldn't do it. We looked at the master plan for UNT around the college, and it required high density. So I said, well, we're going to bring the best. They underestimate these women. We're going to bring the best. So the vision is still there for veterans, veteran families, but now it includes students, and everybody can live at the Airborne of University Hills.
All right, we might as well go and put that on, record that and put that on the commercial right there. I think people ready to move in. Now, Rhonda, we've talked about we had some success stories here. And one thing about what you're here today for those in the audience that you're going to hear the good, bad, and the ugly because it just doesn't start off. Cynthia already talked about, hey, it was a swamp. It was out there in the middle of nowhere. But then there's going to be a transformation that's going to happen to this big, beautiful place. So Rhonda, can you tell us maybe about a project where something maybe just didn't go according to plan, and how you ended up shaping that project up for success?
Yes, we've had some exciting opportunities in the development realm. This past fall, we went to one of our sites that we're working on. We did a early cement pour, and for those that aspire to be in development, you can no longer say you're not a morning person because I can't say that anymore. You have to be up at dark 30. That means before the sun comes up for those cement pours. So we were out there at 4 in the morning. Nothing's going on. We have staff there waiting to pour the cement. We're like, okay, 30 minutes goes by. We're like, okay, something's going on. We jump in the truck, we run down the road about 30 minutes to our cement plant, nothing's going on. The machine is not making cement. We're like, whoa, this is not good. So we're like, okay, how long is this going to take? What's going on? We find out that it's a panel. So it ain't going to get any better. So we have to decide at that time, what can we do? Because timelines have to be met, cement has to be poured, you have to keep things moving. So at that time, we decided, okay, we're just going to have to lessen our loss. And we had to, on the spot, call in some contracted cement pourers. We had to pay them top dollar to bring in that cement, because once you start pouring cement, there's no, wait a minute, we can do this tomorrow. No, it has to happen. Cement does what it does. It solidifies. So with that, we had to, one, you got to be quick on your feet. You have to figure out what is the least amount of effort, the least amount of financial loss, because that's what this game is. You have to keep things moving. So that was a situational leadership opportunity where we had to stay calm. We had to assess the situation. We had to not take long to decide what we needed to do and wanted to do. We also had drivers that had other prior commitments that they had to leave on us. So then with us having to hire another cement company to bring cement in, that filled that gap. But then we had to keep our staff on a little bit longer to get the cement poured. So, we had a lot of moving pieces that had to stay in line to keep things moving. And I think we breathed after that, but until we got those cement trucks back rolling, and that's repeated trips of getting those trucks in and pouring and pouring. I think it was about 10, 11 trucks we needed ultimately to get that pour. But yeah, you stay calm to the extent that you can, knowing that your heart is beating out of your chest and you're counting the tick marks of dollars, right? But we got it done. We got it done. So you definitely get your experience of every opportunity you can imagine, even getting up with the Roosters.
Stay calm, cement is on the way. So if you
Cement is
have
on the way.
at 6 o'clock in the morning, call Rhonda.
Yeah,
Essie,
yeah.
Essie, walk us through one of the project maybe that you're working on now, and walk us through kind of the vision of how it came to be.
Admiral Legacy, we are developing a 17-acre development innovation community in Mansfield, Texas. And it's a vibrant mixed-use development that's centered around live, work, play, but most importantly, learn. And I know it sounds cliche when you hear live, work, play, but the difference with this is it's the learning component. And the reason why when I started out on this vision and working with the city, one of the things that was so paramount to me that I had a passion about was supporting entrepreneurship. Currently, I own a flexible workspace where you have incubators, you have small businesses, and I have that passion to create these spaces where people that have ideas, people that have people that have ideas, people to have access to funding, where the bar is a little bit lowering the barriers to entry for anybody that wants to do something great. So that was my vision. And so I had to work with the city of Mansfield, that's where the public-private partnership came in. They had that vision to have that, fostering the economic growth through small businesses, because I do believe small businesses are the power plant behind our economy, but it just means creating that space for them to do what they need to do. And so that's how we have the 17-acre, which is over a 200 million development. It includes Class A offices, includes collaborative spaces, includes retail establishments, and multifamily residential units. And we definitely believe this will shape the entire community by fostering the economic growth, building the community, and just
Wow.
excited about that. And the beauty about this is we're going to have a university on site, and that's going to be like a life science, that's going to be focused on life science, bioresearch, and having companies that would work with these small businesses to create products that would support not just the Mansfield community, but the DFW community, and just going forward, being able to provide solutions to our region and nation around the world. So that's the
Wow.
vision, that's the goal. The only thing I can say is prayers, right? For me, that's what has held me through this. For every time things go wrong, I lean on someone greater than myself because nothing ever goes as planned.
Amen and amen and amen. You
I want to
know,
work on that project. And
Right.
see, let me come.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
girl.
yeah,
Good
definitely.
God.
now,
You
now,
go,
rough,
girl.
rough count just so far of the dollar amounts that I've heard. I think we almost close to a $500 million in projects up here. So I will see how that totals up as you guys continue to tell your stories as we go along the way. Because you guys are working on some major projects. And Cynthia, you talked about the going from the swamp into this beautiful place. And that's not an easy thing. Can you talk to us about some of the challenges that maybe that you've run into, and also as a woman developer, if there's challenges that you have ran into, and how have you overcome those different challenges?
By all means, I have two properties that I built simultaneously, and I didn't mean to do it on purpose. I was going to do them one after the other, but good things started to happen, so I did both.
Wow.
But it did not come without lessons. It came with lessons, and the two main lessons that I learned is listen to yourself. I had a lot of people who pat me on the head and said, "Oh, isn't that sweet, young lady? You want to do what?" And they would tell me all the things that weren't possible. And I already knew what I wanted. And so it would create a bit of confusion for me as to what direction should I go, what path should I take, how much should I invest, who should I use. It just created confusion when I listened to
Yes.
too many people outside of myself who thought they knew better. And there were bits and pieces that I could take from them, but I had to stand strong in what I wanted and what I had planned and fill the gaps that I had in my knowledge. The second was managing by the dollars. My background is accounting and business management. I know numbers really well. But when you're in a real estate project, those numbers fly out the window and could go insanely over budget very quickly because you're trying to get to the end goal. And then all these things, like Miss Rhonda mentioned, start to happen, and it could quickly take your budget out of control. And then you could become over leveraged in your project, and then you can't sleep at night. And so managing by the numbers is extremely important. And on that first project, I learned a lot of lessons that I won't repeat in the second one.
So you tell me I can't just have my wish list and get everything that I want in my project. Is that what you're saying? I
No.
mean, it's
That's
just
laughable, right?
like, well, laying into that, because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, like, you have these great visions,
Yes.
and you get locked in
Yes.
on, maybe it's just that one thing, right? And
Yes.
it's that high end thing that
Yes.
you have to
Have to
have
have.
in the project. How how do you stop that temptation from being there, and being able to stay on course?
Yeah. So my first project, I originally wanted 7 units on that project. I wanted 7 tiny homes, and I had an engineer design it all. It looked very pretty on paper. It looked like it could fit. But when you start building and you start moving dirt and you start moving trees and you start discovering there's a spring, and then there's so many things that surface that you have to pivot. And if you are a person who is not very comfortable with pivoting or change,
Mm.
or like Rhonda mentioned, thinking on your feet to solve for a problem right now, you're going to be very uncomfortable in this space. And so I wasn't able to do 7 units because things started to surface as I cleared the land that would prevent me from comfortably doing it and doing it well without it costing me too much to change the land. And so I just had to pivot. And those are things that can cause people who are really stubborn angst, and you can be strong and you can be strong-willed, but you can't be stupid and stubborn.
That's
Woo!
well said.
Woo! That's
Love it.
that lots of wisdom in that, and you can take that outside of development and use that one too. Like, so
Stupid
you,
and stuck. That's good.
hey, so Valerie, walk us through. You talked about a little bit about your project. Walk us through, when you had to navigate the community and kind of build trust, and then how did from a public and private partnership, how were you able to maybe leverage all of that right there? Like what did you do to earn the trust of people or to rebuild the trust?
Well, that reminds me of a story. I happened to witness that there had been a robbery at a church that is across the street from my tiny house where I live. And I offered to repair the ceiling for them. And the senior pastor who went to high school with me at Carter High School, he went to the deacons and he said, Valerie wants to fix the roof. They said, absolutely not. We are not allowing a woman to fix the roof. It had predicted that it was going to rain in 3 days. So I said, cool. Best to your luck. My friend came back, Reuben Connors, senior pastor, and said, I need your help. I fixed the roof. I physically repaired their roof and gave them a 5-year guarantee and said, if it leaked, I'll give you a refund. They totally underestimated me. Got it done. So I had to, the funding, it wasn't about the funding. It was about proving, that a woman can do exactly what a man can do, right? You can do it if you're strong-willed. But it built a partnership between me and the church. Now, when I drive out, they just waving, hey, Valerie. So the whole community found out about that, and it was just a way to bridge gaps and build trust that people allowed me the opportunity to continue to do that and have trust that whatever I say that I'm going to do it with the will of God is going to happen.
Thank you for that, man. And leaning into that just a little bit more as just kind of, was there experience that you had that someone underestimated you, and would that be a funder, partner, contractor?
I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, yes.
there's where this Valerie can testify. I'm sure all the ladies, we are constantly underestimated. But guess what? It's okay. For me, it makes me go on. You help me, when there's no target on my back when you underestimate me. To me, it just gives me, you help me get to my destination faster. So I'm not bothered by, I expect you. I remember when I reached out to someone to partner with me because on the development, and one of the things when he said initially was, oh, that's fine. You can pick the colors when we're trying to define roles. He said, you can pick the colors. Don't worry. I said, let me explain to you how this is going to work. I'm the master developer for this, right? The city has trusted me with this. And then he said, yeah, you make decisions. You can pick the colors. You get statements like that. You get statements like when you're in the meeting room, you get people say, almost tutoring you, talking down at you, telling you, like lecturing you about putting a development together. Just so you know, I'm not trying to insult you. Just they start by saying, I'm not trying to insult you,
But you
insult your
are.
intelligence, but here. And so you have to stand up for yourself in certain situations. I remember when he did the third time, I hit on that damn table. I said, you need to check yourself, otherwise you check yourself out. So sometimes you have to stand up for yourself and just so your voice is heard as a woman. You get underestimated, but at the end of the day, building trust with the community, I wasn't focused about the naysayers. I was focused on what the community wanted. And when I say I was going to do something, I listened to the community. I listened to the staff. I worked with the city, just hearing the typical developer. And that's the difference between a woman. We hear, we listen, we're sensitive. It's not all about the money. It's about making an impact and making sure everyone works together. And so that's the strength we have as women developers, because we listen. It's not about the building, but it's about the community, and just we're just natural nurturers and making sure people get what they want. And so that's where our strength comes in.
Thank you for everybody that's
Amen.
if we're in person now, I think you see a lot of amens and some handkerchiefs waving and everything. Thanks, audience, for showing that love in the with the hand claps and the emojis, the different emojis up there. Rhonda, lean into that just a little bit also. So why is it important for women and especially women of color, right, to see themselves represented in development?
Whew, you know, like as you just said, we are so devalued in every arena, unequitable pay, regardless of if we're doing the same job. In development, it is a male-dominated profession. We're not surprised. You pass by a construction site, you see all men. You don't see any pink hard hats, but we're changing that. We represent women, represent less than 1% in this development realm. And what that says is, if we don't see ourselves, we think we don't belong there. Traditionally, that's been how we see it. Well, I must not need to be in that space because I don't see myself now. It wasn't until we had an elected Black president, President Obama. My son was just so elated that day because he was singing in the shower. My son didn't do that. And I said, son, why are you so excited? He was maybe 12, 13. He says, because we have a president that looks like me. That still just tugs at my heart, because we have to see ourselves. And so that's why we're so excited about what we're doing. We've already talked about having the mindset and the skill set out. And we've lived in the space where we are able to exceed in whatever we do because we have that determination. With intention and determination, we can do anything. The issue isn't capability, it's access, it's exposure, it's opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So that's where Women Breaking Ground comes in. You see our background, that beautiful pink and purple. When we started University at Airborne at University Hills, we started getting a lot of interest from women, like, what are y'all doing? And y'all doing what? And you're developers? What does that mean? And so we created this program, this initiative, this movement, Women Breaking Ground. And we started with our development, Airborne at University Hills, where we want to bring together, be that catalyst to expose women to development, to expose women to all the different disciplines around what a development looks like. Oh, I can be an architect. Oh, I can actually draw up plans to show what something's going to look like before it's built. Oh, I can manage all of these men and get them to, build what I want done. Yes, women can do that. We're in that space. And we do have that compassion to be able to, I think, bring a different flavor, if you will, to that development space, right? Yeah. So with Women Breaking Ground and being that catalyst around the whole funding leadership part is where with Women Breaking Ground, for those that get involved as a member and moving forward to Development Unplugged, where we have different levels of training, we offer the opportunity to apply for a grant. Well, why is that important? Because as we've talked about, you make money, but you need money. So as part of Women Breaking Ground, we offer that grant for pre-development costs. Pre-development costs, for those that, again, are new to this space, that's before you even put a shovel in the dirt. You have to have all of these different things done to even say, when the bulldozers come in, when the cement can be poured, you have to have different things approved by the city to say you are eligible to build. So we're excited about that opportunity to bridge that gap for women that think I can do this, or I'm even interested. I have a glimmer of
Right.
development based on what you all are
You say
talking about. I
did
think
you
I
say
could
you was
do
giving
this
away some
thing.
money? Did you say that? Okay. All right. So y'all need to follow up with that one right there. You heard that one. When money is we got money that is there. Cynthia, talk a little bit about, what strengths do women bring to development that are especially valuable and often probably underestimated.
I think Ms. Rhonda touched on that very well. The strengths that we bring to the table. Well, as a human being, I should say, I don't know if I would just quantify it as just a woman. Different leaders have different approaches, and different humans have different ideas of how they want to build, what they want to build, why they want to build. Um, I think that some of us, our take is what as I mentioned, we listen, we take the information in, we process a little differently, perhaps. And then there's something about us as Black women who want to nurture our empathetic and compassionate side, want to ensure people aren't left behind, that there isn't inequality, that there's a pathway for others to follow that choose to do so. So, what I would say is that the nature of some women ultimately surfaces in how we manage our businesses and our ventures naturally. But humans are going to be humans. You're going to have good ones, you're going to have bad ones. You're going to have those men who do really, really well at leadership and development, and you're going to have women who really do well. But the key is, as Ms. Rhonda mentioned, is that we now, through the work that we are doing and others across the United States, are actually showing and giving an actual visual of us in the game,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
which will lead to other people thinking, I could put my own spin on this and I could do this because I saw somebody else do it who looked like me.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's highly important there, right? Because there are people that are out there that saying, "Man, I can't do this because it's such a male-dominated field," right?
Mhm.
And to see you guys on this screen and to see you guys in the community doing it, people need that visual. Just like, there was a lot of us that said before President Obama became president that, man, not in my lifetime will we see a Black president, right? Because of the nature of what our country was like, and things are changed now. And so with that, Val, I'm gonna lean into you for this one right here. For women who may not see themselves as fundraisers, right? Because you got to have some money. The money that you guys that Rhonda's giving away, they won't take care of it all, right? Because she did qualify that for the pre-work. All right. What would you want them to understand about what development work really means, or
When it
what's
when it
really involved? Yeah.
Okay, when it comes to fundraising, you have to sell your dream, right? And you got to ask for money.
Mm,
You got to do that.
mm.
So you either ask for money or you're going to ask for some pro bono services. And they tell me I'm the queen of asking for some free services. So I came in as a nonprofit developer, right? Starting out. And I needed to sell this. And everybody I met with, I was like, can you do this pro bono? I have a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization. That's a golden sheet of paper to ask people to do stuff for free. So I would say this. I've heard women say, I'm not comfortable with asking for money. If you're not comfortable for asking for money, you're going to have to hire somebody that's comfortable for asking for the money. And that's just the way it's going to be. But here's the advantage: joining Women Breaking Ground, we're going to support you and we're going to help raise money for pre-development, for the funds you need for land, for engineering work, for surveys, all those things you need. We got you. You join with us, we're going to help you raise the money. So if you're uncomfortable with that, we can help you out. But you got to do that. And if you have sales experience, background in sales, I've been selling since I was age 6, right? I've been selling. So I'm very comfortable with asking for money. I'm even more comfortable for asking for pro bono services.
Valerie, what were you selling at age 6, if you don't mind me asking?
Man,
Brownies in exchange.
yeah.
Were you the kid in the elementary, like you
Yeah.
had your
Here's
backpack loaded with the candy bars selling for $1?
No, my grandfather
He
owned
loved
a
them.
tire company, and he would pay my brothers $100 every weekend to haul tires. And I was like, y'all get $100 every single weekend, and you putting that in my face. I went to my grandfather. I was like, this ain't fair. I need some of this money. He said, go talk to your grandmother and asked her, what can you do to help your brother? She said, Valerie, if you help me make the cinnamon toast in the morning before they leave, that would be great. I told my grandfather, I made cinnamon toast this morning. When they got off work that day, he paid them in $10 bills. And he said, give your sister half.
Ooh,
Ooh, the
I
cinnamon
had more
toast.
money than my brothers. So I
I
tell
might take
people,
I might take that side gig
yeah,
up
yeah.
to
I
make
sold my
cinnamon.
grandfather, right? I sold him on that. And my brothers hate that joke when I say I had employees when I was 6 years old making cinnamon toast.
Essay, people, they're probably on this call thinking, man, it would be so cool to be in development, but I don't have the background in development. What would you say to that group of people who are on this call who may be thinking about that? And if you could talk a little bit about what are the skills that translate from different industries over to development?
So that's something that scares people, and that's what makes people not even, we want as many developers as possible, especially in our community, to jump into this boat. And that's why I quoted the quote I had about Andrew Carnegie in the first place about being in real estate. You don't need to go to school for real estate development. You need to have a passion. You need to have a dream. And some of the skill sets I would say is that are very transferable. Project management. You run a home. If you running a home is a project. Let's start from the basics. I'm just trying to have that not so you're not intimidated, right? About what
Right,
that
right.
looks like. It's actually running a project. If you have project management skills, you are qualified. You have a vision and a passion to make sure you have grit, right? You want to make sure you the ability to grow, the resilience, be able to stick onto something. You have that ability. Another thing I would say for women or something that's common is the soft skills, right? But guess what? It's beyond soft skills. It's stakeholder fluency. What's
Mm.
often mislabeled as soft skill is actually complex stakeholder management. And what does that mean? It means navigating the cities. It means neighborhoods, right? Making sure you're listening, you're talking to people. It means working with consultants, investors, and partnering simultaneously with different people. To me, a developer is someone that orchestrates. It's like you playing, it's like orchestrating an orchestra director, just making sure everything that's working and it's working together. You don't have to be an expert in the field. You just need to hire the right people to do that job. Making sure you're building a strong team. If you've built a team or you're very good at working in a team, I think that's huge. That's a huge skill set. Translating between technical, being able to one of the things I know women have a strength in doing is translating between the technical, political, and community language. Transcribing this person said this, okay, we're going to put it into basic, simple things. Here, that this is what it means. You're good at negotiating. See, Valerie, at age 6, negotiating her dollar, right? If you have negotiating skills, it's transferable, de-escalating conflict without eroding leverage, right? Those are some of the skill sets I think that's needed in development. And so I'll tell you guys, we encourage and welcome more people in this field. Don't be intimidated. There's nothing you've not done in the past that's not going to be useful in this field.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
good.
Well
That's good
said.
stuff. Rhonda, can you talk to people about why they maybe even should pivot at this time right now to get into development?
You know, Essie made a good point about all the different skill sets. Part of um, our group, 10 women. Can you imagine? Most people would think, oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare. We have so many different skill sets. We have so many different personalities, and it just works. It just works. And it is exciting to have all of that different energy, and we complement each other. So I bring that up to say, you are who you are, we're who we are, and that does not mean it can't work, right? Everything happens for a reason. Your history in life, why you learn to do this, why you learn to do that, why you had this employment, why you no longer have that employment. Everything happens for a reason. And you bring all of that, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You bring all of that so that you are able to navigate, you know, like the lady said, dealing with community, you know, dealing with all different types of personalities. My background is in project management with the state of Texas, 20 plus years. And I tell you what, I would coin my projects as building planes in the air because
Mm.
that's what they were. You trying to put a wing on, you trying to put the nose on. And project management is a lot like that. But when you have a good team, you can do anything. So don't be intimidated about what you don't have. Be encouraged by what you do have. And that is the interest, that is the tenacity. You have to have endurance. Now, this is not for the faint of heart. It's not for those that you know, are concerned about your beauty sleep. We laugh all the time about, you know, sharing different makeups and concealers because, you know, it's real. You have some long days. But nonetheless, that's what the good thing is about us as women. You know, we share, you know, everything, but we share the perseverance. You know, when you're down, I'm up. When you're up, I'm down, but we keep pushing arm in arm. So, ladies, if this has sparked just a little bit of interest today, you know, we encourage you to definitely check out our different social media websites, Women Breaking Ground, because the catalyst is to get engaged. And we are determined to have that cohesiveness, that community of women in this space because we're doing it. You see us now, we're doing it. And there is a continued effort to find those needles in a haystack because we are better together.
And may I ask, we are making history. There is nowhere in this United States is there more than 10 women that are doing a development of this size right here in Dallas, Texas.
So I'm gonna give y'all we're running here about 10 minutes. Give both all of you guys a couple of minutes to answer this. Because we have some people up here who are curious about what you guys are doing. You guys have shared some wonderful stories, some amazing stories. You share some highs and you share some lows and you share some stuff in between. Um, Deep dive, why should people pivot right now? Why, and not people, women specifically. Why should they pivot right now from the careers that they're in over to development? Either that from a full-time or a part-time perspective. And I would ask that you, as I'm talking, I'm giving y'all some chance to just to think about this because I don't want you to lean on each other's. I want to come from your unique experience. Is that why should women pivot right now in their career? And Rhonda, you laid that out beautifully in your way. Valerie, I'm gonna start with you. Then Cynthia, I'm gonna go to you. Then SA, go to you. Why should women pivot right now?
If you are sick and tired of your regular 9 to 5 job and you want to make money in your sleep, you need to be in development. There will always be people who need housing. This is the industry to be in if you're planning on building wealth for your family. So make the pivot, jump into development.
I would say lots of people are looking at long-term wealth opportunities in a different way. I believe our ancestors, many of them who worked, bled, died to purchase land, did it with a long-term goal in mind, and that got lost in the 90s and the 2000s. And I think we're returning back to understand the power of land and real estate if you use it appropriately.
Mm.
I would say it's not only just about wealth. I did this because I wanted freedom. I wanted true freedom, like all of the things that I'm designing on my properties center around not being on the grid, not being a part of the mainstream. And I tell anybody, if it goes down, I can have a little bit more control because I can protect and hold my ground.
Beautiful.
And so mine centers more so around freedom than it does solely just about wealth. But
Mm.
again, not stupid. I want to make some money.
All right, all right. Love it. And you go into the place that I love your story, Cynthia, in that we see development in the big city, quote unquote, right? But you go into that space that not everybody's looking at and
That's
taking advantage of that opportunity. And I think that as the big cities get more and more dense, people are looking out. And then people are looking to even live a little bit more modest, even. And I would say, and you're capturing that market right there. Essay.
For me, it's just if you're I have a passion in I have a passion in impacting the communities that I'm in, right? So if you have that
Hmm.
passion in advocating for our community, if you want to leave a lasting legacy, just like Cynthia said, how that was taken back from us, leaving that legacy. And I'm also building wealth because wealth does, you can see what that does. If you have money, you have a voice. Unfortunately, it's just what it is, that we can act like it's not, it matters because you can influence things, you can get your kids. So when I look at real estate, and that's why I said to myself, this is something that everyone that's who is who today, 90% of them invested in real estate. So if
Hmm.
you want to be the who is who and also control your destiny, that's where freedom comes from. Being free, right, to advocate and help other people. I think real estate is the place to go. What that looks like, even if I started out doing like flipping homes, right? When I moved over to the States, flipping homes, buying a home in different places and starting out. You can start small, but you can do that consistently, be consistent and eventually get to where you want to go.
Amen, amen. And Rhonda, what would you tell the I mean, Val would go back to selling since she was age 6. What would you tell what would you tell the little girl Rhonda about development and knowing what you know now?
If there's any inkling, any spark in you, I would encourage you to pursue it. When I was younger, late 20s, I guess early 30s, real estate, it intrigued me. I would watch different things. Like I said, I would just drive around neighborhoods and look at properties and start taking different classes to learn more about that industry. Still, like I mentioned earlier, because I didn't see any, brown or black people on construction sites with hard hats, that wasn't even envisioned, but I had that interest. So for those that have, like Essie said, starting flipping, starting, wherever you feel comfortable. And even if you don't feel comfortable, you can come alongside Women Breaking Ground where we can expose you to that at different levels. So you don't even have to have it figured out. You just have to have a spark and say, well, let me become a member just to get in the space, to hear more about development, to find out about the different trades. And is this really a good fit for me? You don't have to empty your bank account. You don't have to leave your job today. You're just on a interest finding mission, if you will. Is this a good fit for me? And if so, how would that work for me? And how would I fit? Because like I said, we have 10 ladies with our development at Airborne, and we're all bringing different things to the table. So you're well equipped.
Yeah, I think the story, if you haven't heard that, is that this whole ability to be able to collaborate. You can't can you do it on your own? Yeah, you may.
It gets
Uh,
crazy.
how long is that going to take you? That's a whole nother story. But when you bring the talents and skills together, you get this dynamic panel here, and the women who are doing great work, unlike any other group in the country. And so, strongly encourage you guys. If you're not a part, if you're not a member, you have the opportunity to become a part of Women Breaking Ground. And this whole, we have some more series that are going on. Valerie, will you take a moment to talk about the couple, two, three things that are coming up here in the near future?
Oh, absolutely. Because we're almost at the end of our webinar, and we didn't even give our guests an opportunity to get their questions answered. But you can do that. Show up at Invest Her. It's Women Building Prosperity. It's going to happen at Dallas College, one of our sponsors, right over at Cedar Valley. Come see us in person, have an opportunity to get your questions answered, meet our developers, and we'll give you an opportunity to even sit in the Corvette, see how it feels.
And that's February the 24th.
That's right, at 10 a.m.
Okay, so that's the next one that's coming up. Do you guys have the dates for the other two, just so the people can put it on the calendars?
Yeah, so it's on our website. So
Okay.
if you go to womenbreakingground.org, and you will see a list of events. And we're getting more requests. It's great. We had a sponsor to call us right at the last moment today saying, "Hey, I need to be a sponsor up for today." No, brother, we're going to call you later. But look, we are excited about it. You can get all of that information off of our website. If you want to be a sponsor, come aboard, give us a call, give Rhonda a call. We'll hook you up.
Yeah. Hey, we're at our time. This went by super, super fast. I want to thank you guys for inviting me to be able to moderate this. Again, my name is Keith Vinson with Key Vision, serving as president. Valerie, you're
Thank you,
wonderful,
Keith.
and the work that you have done to just bring folks together is just great. Many, many people out there, you want to know, like, all right, somebody asked a question we didn't get a chance to answer, like what age, like however you all are, however old you are today, that's the right age for you to get started. You've already heard that right there. It is that time that you can pivot. But there's a great movement that's going on. Even if you're just curious, just a little bit, reach back out. We check them out on Facebook. You got LinkedIn, you got Instagram. Then go to the website. That's womenbreakingground.org. Again, womenbreakingground.org to be able to check them out. And so we'll see you guys at the next event. Thank you guys.